Hello. I was thinking, how am I starting this off today? Well, I've had a lot of conversations over this last week about emotional intimacy, and I thought, you know what? I should make a podcast so my clients can re-listen to some of the things that we're talking about in session in a podcast form so they can revisit it, hear my language, hear my words over and over again, and maybe hear something new, maybe possibly as well, along with offering this to those of you that stumble across this podcast or a fan and maybe a secret stalker. Anyway, so emotional intimacy. That has been the topic that I want to raise today. And I want to start off by saying if emotional intimacy feels hard, feels like it's work, it feels difficult, if it feels like something that's painful, dreadful, something you have to do, you're doing it wrong. You're absolutely doing it wrong. And it does, when we come from a pressure, when we come from, I have to, when it comes from pain, when it comes from fear, when it comes from, I must, I should, uh, it's really not going to land well for your partner. So the other person is going to receive it as pressure, force. You don't want to. And they're also maybe even going to interpret it as something's wrong with them. Depending on how emotionally intelligent they are, they may receive the message very incorrectly. They may make it about them. They may make it personal. They may create a lot of meaning around however this is being delivered if you're doing it by force. We don't build connection. We don't build warmth in a relationship. We don't build goodwill in a relationship. We don't build intimacy from force, from effort, from hard work. We don't build connection or bonds with any kind of low mental state or negative feeling, if you will. What we will do is we'll build connection, we'll build goodwill, build relationship and intimacy in a quiet mind, in stillness, in peace, in a calm mind. We will build it when we are settled, when we are relaxed. We will build it when there's peace of mind, when there's safety, comfort, when we feel relaxed, right? Because when we build safety, when we build a sense of comfort and ease and flow, your partner will reciprocate it and they will reflect it back. Right? There's no safety when you're operating out of fear. And again, depending on how emotionally intelligent your partner is and how well they've managed and navigated all their old wounds and all their old thoughts and beliefs and issues, it won't land well if you're operating from a state of fear, pressure, have to, must, ought to. And the metaphor I want to use in this that helps me recognize this in my own life and helps in client relationships or client coaching scenarios is watching a movie, right? So when you go to a movie, let's say a movie theater, just to be able to put yourself into an environment. If you go to a movie and you're in a really bad place, like in your mind, in your head, maybe you're grumpy, maybe you're frustrated, maybe you're in a bad mood, maybe you're in a headspace where you're overthinking and overanalyzing and you're in this negative mindset, maybe even fear, maybe anger, frustration, annoyance. Would you experience the movie fully? Would you be fully present? Would you enjoy the movie? Would you follow the plot? Would you actually enjoy it as an experience? Would those around you feel it? Right? If you are really angered, I was going to use a different word, but I chose not to. Uh, Likely they will. right? They're going to notice that you're quiet. They're going to notice your body language. They're going to notice the facial expressions. They'll probably notice that you don't want any popcorn. You don't want anything to drink. You're going to be just really not about the experience. You're not going to be fully present. Versus if you let the movie move you, versus letting go of life on the outside of the movie theater door. It's kind of why I chose this, is because it is a different environment, a different place where you can leave life on the outside of the door, or maybe even outside of the movie theater completely. Like really disconnect and let the story move you. Let the story plot line and the characters enable your imagination. Let your body relax, right? Again, just letting life stay on the outside of those doors or the building, or maybe at home, not even taking it with you through the car ride to the movie theater. Because for me to go to the movies, oftentimes we like to go to one that's in this big mall. So it's a big adventure. It's a good 45-minute drive and then parking the car and all the things, right? So for me, going to the movies, for me, it starts before actually even leaving the home. I like to get all dressed up and have fun and look forward to it. But it starts in the car ride. But let's say that if you're in a busy mind, right, and that overanalyzing, consumed with frustrated things or thoughts that have happened to you throughout the day, throughout the week, things that are bothering you, right? Really overanalyzing and processing and pros and cons and trying to fix things, trying to change your life in your head, wishing things were different, bending reality, wishing that you can change things to look a certain way, wanting to control things, right? Maybe you're wanting to defend yourself, your character in your mind, and process how you're going to talk to someone in the next days, weeks, months, whatever. Maybe you're trying to prove yourself in some way in your mind, right? In your imagination, you're playing the past, right? Something that's happened in the past. You're playing it over and over and over again in your mind, and you're playing over and over again in your mind the future. You're not present. You're missing the magic that happens in that experience of letting a movie take you along the journey, taking you through the hero's journey. Most movies have a hero's journey throughout the movie. Those are the best movies, right? That we actually go on some sort of adventure, and there's something to learn. There's something involved in there, or maybe it's just pure imagination. I guess it depends on the genre of movies you like. But you're missing the magic when you're in your head, when you're in your thoughts, when you're swallowed up by thinking and feeling your thoughts of the past, the future, the past, the future. It's only in silence that you can, when you silence your mind, when you silence those voices, that inner dialogue, it's in silence. It's when you're able to control, delete, I like to say, and be fully present, that you can experience a movie fully. And again, if you're going with other people, they want you there too. They want you to immerse yourself into the full experience. So in this podcast, my goal is to break a myth about intimacy. And I kind of alluded to it at the beginning. Intimacy is, if you're working hard at it, you're doing it wrong. If you're forcing someone to have emotional intimacy with you, you're doing it wrong. Because it's not going to happen when you force it, you push it, you pressure it. We need to do it today at 3:00. Certainly with some practice, you could do it on the dime. You could do it at a specific time. With some practice, some awareness, some understanding of how your mind, thought, and consciousness works, you could do it at the drop of a hat. Intimacy is not something to strive for. It's not something that you have to work hard for. It's not achieved through working hard. Truly, you're using your intellect. You're using too much thought to get you there. So true emotional intimacy, true connection, true bond, true creating goodwill, which goodwill to me, I have a full definition that I've used in multiple podcasts, but in short, it's a good feeling towards another person. But true deep intimacy is through being fully present, through deep listening, through clarity, which oftentimes I think of it as just an open, clear mind, an optimistic mind, a mind that's open and willing to hear and experience moment to moment with another person. It doesn't even have to have words. And I think that culturally and through society, it's easy to mistake doing more for connection, right? A lot of times I'll have clients come to me that are really have a wedge in their relationship, some distance that has been created over months or years, typically years. And there's this perception of like, well, we'll just have date night. We'll do all these things. We'll do more things, adding more stuff to their plate. And then we'll be connected. Then we'll have emotional intimacy. Then he'll love me more, or then she'll love me more, whatever. There's this perception that doing more is going to make for a deeper, more emotional, intimate connection. And that's false. That's a myth. And I think that we are told, I remember being told over and over again that relationships are a lot of work. Relationships are hard. It's really hard to be married. Oh, that's so difficult. You know, it's going to be so hard. There's going to be so many challenges. There's going to be so much hard times. It's going to be hard. It's not true. In fact, if you think it's hard, it's going to be hard. But I think that the harder we try, the worse we make things. Paradoxically, the harder we do things, the harder we push, the harder we want things to be a certain way, the more we get more of what we don't want. The more we focus on what's wrong in the relationship, the more we get of that. So we gain emotional intimacy, we grow it, we foster it, we build it, we create it through emotional awareness. So emotional awareness or emotional intelligence is being able to self-regulate, right? In order for you to be fully present, in order for you to fully listen to someone, it does require you to be able to regulate your emotions, kind of like what I alluded to being 3 o'clock today. You know, I could do that. I could easily do that because I have lots of experience and knowledge and understand where my feelings come from. I know that my feelings don't come from outside of me. I know that my feelings come from inside of me. Certainly, I'm a human being and I can get a little bit confused and start to believe in certain moments, for sure, a couple times this week already, that, oh, something outside of me is making me feel a certain way. Whoa, 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 look at that language. Notice that thought, right? That leaves me powerless. That leaves me believing that it's not my fault, it's something else's fault. That leaves me powerless. But when I have emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, and I self-regulate and I realize that it's only my thoughts that are making me feel upset or happy. When I know that, when I gather proof and evidence of that and see it in every single moment, whether I'm happy or I'm sad, I'm able to feel empowered again. No longer feeling hopeless, no longer feeling like life is happening to me. I feel all of a sudden that life is what I make it. Life is what I believe it to be. And I live my life more from empowerment, where I live from the inside out. Right? Where I feel whatever I think and feel and believe creates my experience. So when we create a deeper connection with someone, it's being able to have that emotional awareness, not putting that responsibility of regulating me on another human being, because it's enough work for us as individuals to self-regulate. It's impossible for another human being. They don't have the bandwidth, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the ability to regulate someone else's emotions, perhaps for short bursts of time. When we think and believe that I need my husband or my wife or my partner or my boyfriend or my girlfriend to regulate me, it's too much for them to handle for long periods of time. They might be able to guess and they might be able to do it for short bursts, but the reality is they're abandoning themselves to try to figure out you. They become experts at what makes you happy and what makes you sad. But that's a moving target. They might master it in one day and then the next day it's different. Too much, too difficult. Self-regulate your own emotions. You're feeling sad? All right, great. What thoughts, what feelings are you having that's creating, and these beliefs that are creating that feeling of sadness? Where are your feelings coming from? Are you getting a little bit confused at where your feelings are coming from? Are you thinking and believing they're coming from outside in? Because it's easy to believe that. I know it looks real and I know it seems real and legit. It's not true. Your feelings come from the inside out. It's the stories, the thoughts, the beliefs that you have about whatever's happening outside of you is making you feel that way. Once we realize that, see that, pivot, adjust, live a life from empowerment, live a life from the inside out, you'll be able to navigate the ups and downs of life just like this, right? You'll be able to pop back up really quickly. When we jump on the bandwagon of believing that everything outside of us is making us feel a certain way, right? Like I want emotional intimacy with my partner, but they have to want it first. They have to make the first move. And you're pointing a finger and you're blaming them for how you feel. You feel disconnected. You don't feel intimacy in that relationship. Well, guess what? You're going to get more distance, more disconnect because you're shut down. You're throwing walls up. You're making it difficult to reach you. So paradoxically, you'll get more of what you don't want. So emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, both things that I work with my clients, and self-regulation. So someone who doesn't understand emotional intimacy would be, here's a situation, and I'm going to do both sides. I'm going to do two different examples. So someone that doesn't understand emotional intimacy, let's just say for both scenarios, is your partner, right? It doesn't matter what the relationship is, but someone that you deeply care about, someone that you've partnered up with, is withdrawn and seems off, right? Something's different today. Something is they're quiet. That's it. That is a circumstance. That is a situation. It's a fact, like gravity. Now, you're aware of this. You're noticing that your partner is off or withdrawn, right? Maybe they just got home from work. So your thought is, when you're not in a place of understanding emotional intimacy, your thought might be, they must be mad at me. I must have done something wrong. Why don't they just tell me what I did? Why don't they just talk to me? It's really about making it about you, right? But you don't even know, right? But the thought is, that's the automatic, unintentional thought. That's the automatic thought. That's intrusive thoughts. That's the automatic mind trying to protect you and guard you and go, something's off, something's different, something's not safe. That's all that is. But it is a thought. And if you believe that thought and you get attached to it, you'll feel it in your body, right? You'll feel it in your stomach, your neck, your back, your legs, your jaw. Maybe you get a headache. Maybe your shoulders rise to your earlobes. That's what happens to me. I must walk around like this. I used to. But I noticed that whenever I have a negative feeling, I can feel my shoulders rise. I can feel them clench. I can feel the muscles tighten up because I've learned to self-regulate myself. I love the feeling of my shoulders just relaxed. I love that feeling. So I move towards that feeling. But anyways, back to the story. So if you're thinking in that moment that they're mad at me, I've done something wrong, You might be feeling anxious. You might feel rejected. You might feel upset, resentful, scared, fearful, annoyed, angry, right? Whatever your flavor is. The action that would follow, some people might poke for answers. What did I do? What's wrong now? Some people might be passive aggressive, make comments. Oh, I must have done something bad. Look, here you go again, ignoring me. Some people will use humor or jokes that might not be well received. It might be humorous for you, but your partner's humor is different. I know for me and my spouse, our humors are completely different. I'll send him videos and he's just like, what? And I'm bent over laughing. And he'll send me videos and I'm like, what? This is not funny. So be warned. Everybody's humor is different. Maybe there's jabs, like maybe throwing a sock and saying, gosh, you're quiet today. What's wrong with you? Did I do something? Maybe there's nervousness there. Nervous would be a feeling too. Maybe your flavor is silence. Maybe your flavor is avoidance. Maybe it's getting angry and upset and slamming things down. Maybe it's not making dinner. Maybe it's over explaining yourself. Maybe you get so worried that you did something wrong that you start confessing. I'm sorry that I used a different soap on your laundry. I don't know. Maybe you start pleading or begging or saying, here we go again. You're getting upset with me and I've already apologized. What the outcome is, or what the result is when we go down this thought, when we believe the thought, then we feel the thought and we take action, right? And we're jumping on the emotional roller coaster and we're riding it out. What this ends up doing is it creates more distance, more separation, more division. It creates people going into position. We're in the boxing ring and we're defending our position. It creates emotional distance. Oftentimes, depending on your relationship, it can create conflict. It can really elevate one another's insecurities, right? If your insecurities are up, meaning you start feeling insecure and worried and anxious, and what I do, how did this happen? And I'm sorry, and I'm a bad person. If you start going down that road, it's going to rise their insecurities, whatever the flavor of their insecurities are. Your partner will shut down, maybe they get angry, right? The energy that we bring into the relationship gets reciprocated back. It gets mirrored back. What this does is it creates more distance, less emotional intimacy, more friction, more tension. So if you have kids in the house, they're going to feel it. They're going to see that their parents are not emotionally regulating themselves and they're fueling each other into this tense environment. What the outcome is more disconnection, more misunderstanding, more tension, distance, more people feeling unheard, unseen, unworthy, not good enough. See how this snowballs? All right, example number 2. So same scenario, same exact situation. Again, a situation is the facts, right? The actual facts that a jury would look at it from the outside, or an alien would come down and go, yeah, that's a fact. That's real. That's true. So same scenario, your partner is off, right? A little different than yesterday, a little quiet. The next thought you might have is, again, maybe they just walked in from work. Your thought might be, something might be going on with them. Let me stay open, grounded, supportive, offer safety and assurance. That might be your thought. The feeling that would flow after that is what I like to call wild curiosity of a child, right? Think about back when you were 5 or 6, when you were deeply curious about going in the woods and exploring, right? Making forts, creating mud pies. So when we remain in and fuel a feeling of curiosity, wonderment, supportiveness, empathetic comfort, grace, compassion, optimism. So when we feel these feelings, we offer this safety net. We offer this space for your partner to feel safe and relax. So the action that might follow that is checking in, right? Checking in with them from wild curiosity of a child. Reading the room, right? You know your partner better than anybody, better than the internet, better than I, but it's reading the room. And at some point, just from love, saying, hey, I noticed you're quiet. If there's anything I can do, please share with me. And if you'd like to talk about it, I'm here. But notice when we operate from the curiosity of a 5 or 6-year-old, and that's why I kind of gave you a little bit of a backstory on it, just to get your imagination lit up. You probably had ideas on what you would do before I said anything. And it might even be very different than my idea. And that's great. We get good ideas when we operate from curiosity. We do not get good ideas when we come from fear, scarcity, worry, anxiety. We get great ideas when we operate from safety and curiosity and grace and love and compassion. When we really clear our mind of what's in it for me, right? You notice when we operate from curiosity and empathy and willingness and compassion and grace, it's about them. It's not about me. What I do wrong. When we operate from what did I do? That's insecurity. And when we operate from insecurity and fear, we fuel them. We activate their insecurities. We activate their fear, their worry, their anxiety, and it lacks safety. It lacks intimacy. But when we operate from creating space for someone to feel safe, to share whatever's on their mind, the outcome feels, again, like your partner can share with you. It feels safe. They open up. It feels easy. It's fluid. It flows. There's connection there. There's this sense of we are on the same team, right? We're not in the boxing ring anymore. We're no longer playing tug of war. We're on the same team, and you're saying, I'm here for you. However it feels in the moment, feels right and true and good for you, I'm here for you. If you want to talk about it, I'm all ears. I won't say anything, I'll just listen. What is the experience that comes from that outcome? It's more trust, right? Emotional intimacy follows trust. Emotional intimacy follows being deeply present with another person. It comes from an emotional bond or an emotional connection. It comes from being fully present. There's no judgment, right? If your partner is hesitant to share with you because they feel like they're going to be judged, laughed at, made fun of, criticized, joked about, there's going to be no emotional intimacy in that relationship. They're going to hold back. They're going to withdraw. They're going to be made small. So back to being in the movie theater, when you're fully present watching a movie, and you don't even have to be in a movie theater, you can be at home, but when you're fully present and watching a movie and you're just letting the storyline, the actors and actresses really whisk you away, take your imagination on a journey, on their hero's journey, you not only feel it mentally, but you feel it emotionally sometimes, especially drama or even high action pack, but you might even feel it physically. You probably will. Right? Have you ever been to a movie where you viscerally felt it? I mean, when I say that, and I think that like, I have like 3 or 4 movies that are popping into my mind, and they're all different genres. Like I can remember crying at a cartoon, the cartoon Up. That movie, for whatever reason, it hit me hard. So please comment and let me know that I'm not alone. Share with me if you agree you've had that same experience with that movie or another movie. It could be Shrek. I don't care. No judgment. Don't let me be out here all alone. But even movies that jump scare me, right? That's not my genre. My husband loves shoot 'em up, bang 'em up movies, so I have to have something in any movie that we go to has to have some action and guns and fighting of some sort, I swear. But I've had visceral and emotional and physical reactions to movies. And that's what it's like to have emotional intimacy with your partner. Like you viscerally feel it in your body, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Whatever story they're telling you, whatever happened in their day, right? They left for the day, they came back, something's off, something's different. They experienced something, they saw something, they heard something, something happened that has them feeling off. Now, if you're in the movie theater and you're watching a movie, maybe you even got in our theater. I don't know much about movies. This honestly, watching movies is my husband's thing, and I go with him because that's something he enjoys, and it's very much nostalgic for him. So we do it probably pretty regularly. I don't know, 2-3 times a month. Anyways, there are certain levels I've noticed in the movie theater that it seems to be more expensive the higher up you go, and supposedly the better graphics and the better sound. I don't know, whatever. I don't know what that translates to, so I apologize for my ignorance on that. That's like again not my expertise. But what I have realized is when we go in the theaters that are up above, like the high end theaters, are smaller, more compact. But if you let's say we went to the movies and we went to one of those theaters, right? Where it kind of like curves around, and the sound is quite dramatic. The bass really shakes the floor and so forth. And let's say I'm your partner. Let's just put me in the seat of disconnection. And I'm on my phone. I'm on my phone. And I know they have disclaimers, right? Every time I go to the movie theater, there's a disclaimer, put your phone away or silence it or turn it off. I don't know. But what if I'm on my phone? I'm checking my phone, scrolling, making my grocery list, checking Pinterest, making things up here. And I'm just thinking, maybe I'm typing to people, maybe I'm texting people, maybe I put my phone down for a little bit and I'm criticizing and critiquing the acting, right? Saying, oh, I don't like this actor, I don't like that actress. They were in this movie and they were horrible. And oh, do you know about this in their personal life? Maybe I'm complaining about the lighting. Maybe I'm complaining about the seats. Maybe I'm judging the people that are in the theater with us. Maybe I'm back to scrolling on my phone. Maybe I'm saying, oh, this is a terrible storyline. The plot is awful. Maybe I'm fidgeting with my seat, going up and down, up and down. I love this theater we go to. I actually think that the higher end theaters up high, the seats don't move. I like the lower end ones where the seats totally recline, like you're laying down. I'm positive I have fallen asleep a couple times in those theaters. So that may not be a good thing. And maybe that's why the ones at the more expensive ones don't recline, because they want you to watch it. But let's say I'm fidgeting with the seat. And maybe I'm talking to you and like, hey, do you want anything from the concession? Do you want some more soda? Do you want some candy? Maybe I'm bugging you. I'm totally missing the experience. I'm totally missing out on the movie because I'm not fully present. I'm in my head. I'm thinking. I'm probably even thinking about what I'm going to do when we leave. Like, hey, checked out this restaurant, showing you my phone as the movie's playing. Probably driving everybody around us crazy, assuming that there are people around us. But this is how most people do intimacy. They're multitasking. They're thinking that they can update their resume in their mind, maybe even physically, when they're bonding with someone else. Maybe they are playing video games and thinking, well, I'm with you, I'm in the same room as you, or I'm in the same house as you. So that's intimacy, right? No. You might physically be in the house, you might physically be in the same room, but that's not intimacy. That's not emotionally present. I really do believe that time is most value, right? It's not really going to the movies. I mean, I love having experiences and memories and laughter and tears, like the full spectrum of emotions with my husband. I feel like that's what life is about, is sharing all of those moments. But emotionally present is really being with your partner. It's being fully present. It's feeling the moment fully with one or more of your senses. It's not working hard at it. It's not pushing. It's not trying. It's not attempting. Because when we're working at it, we're coming from the wrong energy. I do have a John and Sarah scenario, kind of like what I did earlier about the two different paths. So it's another one. So let's say John's always the bad guy in this story. That's okay. John's okay with it, right? He's hypothetical. But let's say John forgot the anniversary. It's a wedding anniversary. He forgot, didn't have it in his calendar, didn't have a reminder, doesn't have any way to remember it. And he forgets the dinner plans on top of it all. And so Sarah, she's always the one that but although, Sarah could be really the villain in this story. It depends on how you look at it. I know I always make John the bad guy as far as, forgetting something, but Sarah could be the villain in the story if you think about it. So, but I have two scenarios, one with Sarah having a busy mind and one with Sarah having a still mind, or quiet mind, I like to call it. So a busy mind is where you're on autopilot, when you're reacting to what's happening. So again, John forgot the anniversary completely. He forgot the dinner plans. Her immediate automatic negative thought, or the thought that rises, that's the loudest in her head, is, he doesn't care about me. I am not important. Our anniversary is not important. He doesn't care about me. I mean, I'm worthless to him. I mean nothing to him. So that's her busy mind. That's the voice in her head that's the loudest. Likely what she's going to feel after that is very hurt, very dismissed, forgotten, not good enough, not important, feeling sad. So when he walks in the door, an hour after they should have left for the dinner plans, her action, because she believes that thought, I'm not important, he doesn't care, what she will likely do is snap at him or withdraw completely, right? So depending on your flavor, what is the outcome? More disconnection, more tension, more distance, more conflict, emotional intimacy, gone. Because she's reacting out of those thoughts that are unintentional, right? An unintentional thought is a thought that rises, it's usually loudest. It's a thought that's there to protect Sarah in this situation, right? So thoughts that we have that are unintentional are usually some sort of based out of fear, based out of anger, based out of some sort of protection or guarding of her character or being. Okay. So in the same scenario, poor John, he's late. He forgot the anniversary completely. No card, no flowers, no nothing. And he walks in the door an hour late after they should have left for the dinner plans. Sarah could have that same unintentional thought, I'm not important. And she could self-regulate herself and go, wait, this is not like him. Something's off, something's wrong. And even in saying that, I feel in my heart like a bit of pain, but also what's wrong? I need to find out what's going on. Maybe there's something that he needs help with. How can I help him? How can I be a partner to him and be supportive in whatever he's going through? So that's that curiosity of a child, right? That deep, deep curiosity of a 5 or a 6-year-old. And she could feel compassionate towards him, feel like, I'm going to give him some grace. I'm going to give him a chance to help me understand what's going on, because I'm misunderstanding him completely. This is not like him. All the years past, he's usually presenting a card and I get flowers in the middle of the day. So this is different. Something's going on. Something's off. So she's tapping in. She had that negative thought, intrusive thought, worried thought. And she's choosing intentionally to move towards curiosity, love, compassion, empathy. So she could gently go up to John and say, hey, are you okay? I noticed when you came home, you were really quiet and distant. And when we build that emotional curiosity, that emotional trust, that emotional freedom, that space for John to feel safe to say whatever really is on his mind, he's going to stay open. That's where intimacy is. He might tell her that, yeah, I found out this morning that my high school best friend passed away. And maybe when he got the news, he found out that it was days earlier, and he's trying to figure out a way to take off time and go to the funeral that's coming up really quick, right? So his mind is busy on something that's really important to him, and he's in the midst of a grief storm. So this is a place for her to step up to the plate with compassion and connection and understanding of, how do I reconnect? How do I offset and help him process this grief? So she's choosing how to feel. She's choosing her thoughts, right? First, she's choosing a thought that serves her and her relationship, that keeps her supportive, that keeps her loving, keeps her focusing in on them as a unit, not me. What's in, I'm my feelings. What about my feelings? Validate me. Emotional intimacy is gone when you're all about yourself. She's stepping into this emotional leadership. She's realizing that in this moment, she needs to be strong. She needs to be the brave one, the courageous one. So she's choosing in how she responds and holds space for John. So as a recap, if it's not really clear in everything that I covered in this podcast, is intimacy is not done if we are making it, creating it, pushing it, forcing it. Emotional intimacy, again, is done in ease and flow. It's real easy. Like, I really, truly, for me and for some of my clients, they really, when I talk about being in the innocence and the curiosity of a child, it's like light bulbs go on. It's like light opens up, the clouds part. Intimacy happens in the quiet settled, peaceful space that we can create through our thoughts, through our energy, through our feelings, is creating this space of safety. I live in an area on a mountain that I watch animals all the time. In fact, I have animals on the other side of this camera constantly. I have a bird feeder that feeds hummingbirds and all kinds of songbirds and a few woodpeckers and all kinds of stuff, and a chipmunk from now and then. Actually, a chipmunk several times a day right now. And deer and turkeys. But I watch these animals all the time, and they love it here on this property. They come here every day, all of them. They're different times. But I watch them and I observe them, and they know that it's safe here. Certainly, I watch them whenever they see movement in the house. They stop, they pause, they look, and they observe for a little bit, and then they go back to eating, or I have water for them too. But we're animals too, and we thrive when we feel safe. We can provide a feeling of safety through really self-regulating ourselves. So emotional security, emotional intelligence, emotional maturity is seeing that we can choose how we think. We can choose what thoughts we feel. We can choose how we want to feel, how we want to respond, and generate a space of safety. If it's important to us, if we're willing to do that, if we're willing to go there. When we create emotional chaos, emotional pressure, when we create emotional distance, when we create a wedge in our relationship, when we take a withdrawal out of the bank account of goodwill, it comes from believing every intrusive thought that we have, making it about ourselves. What did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? What don't you like about me? Why am I not good enough? It's all about me, 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 me. Again, remember, you've got to self-regulate yourself, put yourself in a healthy mind space where you feel good, learning how to do that at the drop of a hat. Because when you do that, you're opening up a dialogue with this other person that feels safe to talk about what's weighing on their mind. Or maybe there's nothing weighing on their mind. Maybe it's just a matter of when you open up that space and that safety, they want to laugh with you, share stories, tell you things that they've never told you. That's emotional intimacy. Why I bring up, John coming home late or whatever, or missing out on the anniversary is because I'm trying to make it like real life, right? Like things are always happening. Life is a contact sport. But maybe everything's neutral, maybe everything's fine. So if you want to connect with someone on an emotional level, it's really about making the most out of the moments that you have together. Life is short. Like it's really being in this place of, how can I enjoy these moments with you? Because I'm not going to get this back again. Like, how do we laugh? What stories have you never told me before? What are some experiences that you've had that maybe you haven't thought of in a while? Childhood stuff, or maybe in your career, or your business, or whatever you've got going on, or things that interest you or you're curious about. You can train your mind to focus in on your partnership. You can train your mind to focus on being still. Again, those intrusive negative thoughts are going to pop up. I don't know that they ever go away. They haven't for me, but they become less and less loud. You become real suspicious of them. You notice them and they're like, oh, that's funny. Good idea. Not choosing that. I know what the outcome of that is, and it's not good. I prefer to stay in a good feeling, or even a neutral feeling. I want to experience situations and navigate them in a way that I feel empowered, that I have the light switch of my emotions, right? Versus blaming John for coming home late and making him the villain of how I feel. John coming home late has nothing to do with the way you feel. It's all in your head. It's all in the thoughts and stories that you're making up and believing. But when you train your mind to work for you rather than against you, you'll experience everything so differently. Your relationships will improve. Your relationships will get deeper, higher quality, better, more rich, more fun, right? And so you'll have more meaningful moments where you're laughing deeper, you're understanding them at another level. It's actually really fascinating. Like there's some stuff that I've actually realized. I've been with my husband now 21 years. I've learned some stuff about him over the last 2 weeks that I'm still mulling over a little bit and looking for more evidence of it, but it's interesting. Like it's wild to me. And again, I'm using that 5-6-year-old curiosity of like, what is that like? What is that like for you? Because it's different for me. And I because with such trust, I'm able to share that with him. And maybe it might open up his mind. And if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't, no sweat off my back. But out of curiosity, sharing this stuff with him that I'm starting to realize and starting to gather evidence of and go, wow, what is that like? It's fun and exciting. I feel like I'm an investigator putting pieces together and going, it's starting to make sense because his reality is very different than mine. So again, you can train your brain to work for you rather than create so much chaos in your life. And again, forcing intimacy is never going to work. And I know the word intimacy can mean a lot of different things for a lot of people, and it's a good feeling, truthfully. And there's emotional intimacy and there's other intimacy, but I believe that all intimacy is the same. Is you can't have some of the other intimacy when you're in your head and you're pressuring it, forcing it, wanting it to be a certain way and wanting to control things and demand things be a certain way. It just doesn't work. So I believe it really encompasses all types of intimacy. But my question to you, if you're willing and open to put in the comments below, because we are almost at an hour. So thank you for watching this to this point. You're a good sport. Love you guys. But what thoughts, probably repetitive ones, maybe not, but what thoughts tend to hijack your intimacy in your relationship? Doesn't matter what kind of intimacy, but what thoughts tend to get in the way? And likely they're on repeat. And the more curious you are, the more awareness that you are around this, you can actually change it. So if intimacy is low, any kind of intimacy in your relationship is low, likely there's some thoughts, some walls, some stories, some beliefs that are blocking it. So you can't fix what you're not aware of. So when you become curious of what thoughts are blocking me, it gives you a way forward. It gives you something to start working on. It gives you something to lean into. It's what I call my edge. It's my learning edge. So whenever I feel a negative feeling, I'm like, oh, there's something to learn here. I can learn something here. My mind is playing tricks on me and I'm believing it right now. So in order for me to move through it and to feel differently about it and be empowered, it's noticing the thoughts that are fueling the feelings and the outcome that I likely don't want. So what thoughts tend to hijack your intimacy and your relationships? Could be with your partner, your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend. All right, if this episode sparked something in you or you know somebody that would be interested in this, please share it with them. Comment, share. I think, and depending on which platform you're watching this on, you might be able to rate it or give it a review, and that would mean a lot to me. And yeah, definitely share this with someone that you think that this could be something that they need to hear. And if you are ready to talk to me and share with me, what are your blocks? What are your barriers? Or maybe you're just not really sure how this fits for you in your life, and you want to talk over your specific situation or scenario, and you want to change the wiring of your brain and understand your partner. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm here for you. I'd love to help you. Okay, so you can text me at 509-800-7264. I'll have it in the notes. But yeah, I can help you get unstuck mentally, emotionally, and physically. And like I said, I'm always here for you and love to help and support you in any way that I can. So thank you. Thank you for watching this. Thumbs up. Talk to you guys next week.